atomic gigantification was a sweeping Japan nation when along came a dude with an ultra attitude, a common rider who's the greatest kicker of Japan. And of all, man, life's too short now, baby, to not talk big now, baby.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, back to Kaiju Conversation Live. I'm your host, Elijah, and joining me for the first time ever is my actual, legitimate co-host.
Hello. This is unusual.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not usually here, in the flesh, you could say.
This is true. Normally, you're behind the scenes doing your little editing things, little fun stuff here and there.
Oh god. Yeah, pretty much, I guess.
So, this is in a way, this is our legitimate first Kaiju Conversation Live, legitimate, both of us here.
Yeah, my first time on one of these. You'd think
First time? First time?
You'd think as the co-host of sorts, I would have been on for one of these things sometime. But no, first one. What's this? How many have you done? 12 of these or something?
10. This is 11, but unless you count the last.
I was gonna say 11.
Well, okay, so if you count the other special that we did, that would be, so this would be 12 counting that special.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I would count this as number 12. So
okay, I got it right. Okay, I'm a genius. Thank you.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far.
Hey, now, man, come on.
Well,
I'm insulted.
I think I'm pretty accurate here.
I don't know about that.
I think so.
Yeah, right.
So
viewers now. I guess it really is viewers.
It is. Now you can actually talk to people, Rex.
No way. I should probably pull the stream up so I can actually look at the chat. There is it.
Yeah, I've got it going here. It looks like we got 4 people watching right now. So.
Oh well, hello, people. It's probably all your first time seeing me.
So while I get the posts out there for people to know that Kaiju Conversation Live is live, why don't you give us a little hello for being your first time?
Well, what do you want me to really say? I guess I wish I could have come on news that was more fortunate, you could say. I mean, this is kind of here for a little bit of an event sort of thing, I guess, with a certain trailer that came out. But, I wish it would have been a slightly better, something I'm more excited for, right?
That's fair.
I mean, hey, I'm sure most people are excited for it, but, good on them. Good for them. I'm glad.
I was on the phone. I was on the phone with Danny DeMana before we hopped in here, and he mentioned that on Twitter and whatnot, it's a lot of positivity. Everybody's actually really positive.
I've seen a lot of positivity on this new trailer that's come out, and on Discord and other social media as well, everything seems mostly positive. Mostly. I've seen a couple people kind of be like, they're showing those shots in this trailer? Yikes. I've seen a couple of those from people like Whenever and all them, which I don't disagree with, but but yeah, I'd say the reaction has been mostly positive so far. Some people saying it's better than the first trailer, which for me not a high bar, but
Hang on 1 second, I'm still over here.
Yeah, Jesus,
get it out.
It'll be the life. I'm currently the life of the show here.
Hey, first time. You gotta bring the stuff.
I gotta leave a lasting impression, do I?
You do. Before we really actually, with this being the first time that we're both on here, let's talk a little bit about the podcast.
Okay.
Let's actually, chit chat a little bit about this last year. Like in the last year, up until January, hadn't really stopped.
Right.
We
had a little bit of a close
year.
call near the end of last.
Oh yeah. So I don't know if you know this. I barely knew this, but something happened today.
Whoa! What's that?
It's hot dog water.
Makes sense.
So we're gonna do a breakdown, a discussion, starting about with this poster. So, okay. Where do we
give
start?
it this? I like it slightly more than the previous poster, but that's also
The previous-
I don't like the previous poster at all.
The previous poster, so I don't have that one here to pull up. The previous poster was silhouettes of Godzilla and Kong in front of Rio. And it was all yellow and beige and brown. And it was just a visually uninteresting image. This is not that. I mean, I will say I do love the change of lighting from brightness to dark. Little interesting that Kong is on the dark side and Godzilla's on the bright side. That's, because in GVK, the way it was Godzilla was on kind of the darker, more gray side of the battleship, and Kong was on the more blue sky, bright side. So it's very interesting to see them spitting Godzilla as kind of that hero, right?
I mean, he's obviously taking a less antagonistic approach in this film.
Mm-hmm. So we get, I will say though, these render, I am not a fan of the whole render era of posters.
Yeah. I mean, these aren't the worst I've seen, but they're not great. Godzilla's in a funky pose.
They look like they're Five Nights at Freddy's animatronics, like bending down about to like scream at you.
See, the issue for me is, man, Kong looks mostly fine. It's Godzilla's arm.
Yeah.
That really just distracts me. And then also the fact you can't see Godzilla's other arm as well. Like, I know it's behind Kong, obviously, but it just makes it look like he's missing an arm. The way it's posed.
Honestly, like, okay, if we want to talk about render posters that are actually pretty good, for the most part, -1 had some pretty banging, like, posters outside of, like, the IMAX one, I would say is probably the worst of those.
Yeah, I mean, the IMAX poster is pretty much, like, same sort of style as this poster here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's probably the worst one. But I mean, the -1 posters were kind of going for like a different style to this altogether, really.
Right. Now, one thing I must highlight here about this poster.
This is better than floating head posters. I'll give it that. It is slightly better.
But it also, I will say, I feel like the poster doesn't balance itself out accurately. Like, Godzilla is such a big character that you have to do a lot to balance out the opposing side of wherever he's at, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why typically Godzilla's either in the middle or he's not the biggest thing on the poster.
I mean, I feel like while I do prefer this poster overall, I think the actual, that first poster we saw for the film was more balanced overall, with having, Godzilla kind of be more, based around the corner. like the top left corner of the poster, and Kong taking like the front rightish area.
Mm-hmm.
It just had a more, balanced look, as you said. Whereas this, with them sort of being around the same position, Godzilla's like noticeable size difference just kind of makes it look off.
Mm-hmm. Now, I am kind of surprised that for the most part, outside of those artistic face posters, they have not had the villain kaiju at all in the posters. I think that's an interesting creative choice.
I mean, there was the Chinese poster that had Scrye King on it.
Right, that's true.
Yeah, and that's probably the best poster this movie's had.
I mean, in all fairness, Kong Skull Island had the same thing with its Japanese poster.
I mean, yeah, Kong Skull Island Japanese posters.
Now, so for the stream, we can't really show off the trailer, which is what everybody is here for, right?
Yeah.
So what we're going to have to do is...
I do have some screen caps from it, so I could probably pull up some of those as well.
Okay. If you want to do that, then we can kind of use those.
Yeah, I don't have screen caps for everything, but I have like a few screen caps on.
Okay.
A couple things that we'll probably talk about.
Okay. Earlier we kind of started the whole stream saying, hey, everybody's been really positive about this trailer and everything, and it's been surprisingly nice. Well, allow us to ruin your night.
Yeah. Allow us to blank on your parade. I think Elijah does not want me to swear here, which is very offensive to my culture.
So, I think this will be an interesting conversation to have. Because you and I both historically have said some very
we're big fans
of hating on the movie.
Yeah.
So
we're a little
I'm just gonna get this out of the way. I'm gonna say this now, and then we'll talk about the rest. My overall opinion is this legitimately just looks like Godzilla vs. Kong 2. Like it looks like that movie.
Wow. No way. That's crazy. I can't believe we got what they promised.
Well, it's obvious it's got the same writer, director, and cinematographer.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. There's a lot of things that really do feel like this. You can tell it's the same sort of style. The cinematography, I definitely noticed at a couple points with how certain shots are framed almost exactly like some moments in GVK, and how the camera moves as well.
Mm-hmm. And the lighting, of course, Mr. Wingard and his neon lighting, digital neon lighting.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have the trailer kind of going here on my phone. If you want to pull up some of those screen caps, we can dive into this.
Remember what part I have to pull up the trailer for myself so I know what screen caps to pull up real quick. Sorry about that.
Well, the trailer does start off with that shot of Kong rising from underneath the pyramids of Giza with the with the beast glove, as it's aptly named. But we also get a wide shot of the entire situation. Now, I haven't seen all of Monarch. But in the last episode that we watched, because I've only watched Monarch with you, Rex. I would never watch Monarch with anybody else.
You never did.
Wait a minute. Oh no. I just fell into my own joke. Oh no.
You fool.
It was one time. But in the most recent episode that we have watched of Monarch,
Right.
one say there was the scene of Kurt Russell blowing up the thing where the Frostbark.
Oh, the Hollow
and yeah, and that's very much what this looks like. And since when? So okay, now I'm starting to question, when did portals become a thing?
What do you mean, like in the
whole Hollow Earth? I thought there was like entryways, and like you had to go through those entryways. There just wasn't portals popping out of places.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything from Monarch, but the things in Monarch aren't quite the same as like the Hollow Earth things we saw, like the portal entryways, whatever we saw in GBK. They're a little different.
They are different, but they look more like this portal that Kong is coming out of in Giza.
Oh, that's what you mean. Oh,
yeah.
I guess they do look kind of similar. I mean,
they look identical.
Yeah. I mean, there was speculation that the blue light coming from there is from Shimo, to be fair, apparently. I don't know if it actually is.
See, I'm not sold on that. And that's because we later on see another clip.
What, like Kong's hand coming out?
No, we see Godzilla and Kong roaring. The still, in air quotes. But we do get the rest of Kong, like, grasping the ground. And then it cuts to Godzilla swimming in the ocean, coming ashore to what I'm going to guess is Rome. Wait.
No, he's in his wolf form. No, that'd be Rio.
Oh, gotcha. So Rio's the place of the final fight from that.
Presumably, yeah. Either that or the Hollow Earth, or both.
That would... Oh, that's true, because Godzilla and Kong do end up in the Hollow Earth together, running.
Yeah.
Oh. So yeah, I will say this: at certain shots, the Godzilla design looks good, but only when the entire body is not on screen.
I mean, there's one shot, like that money shot that they were showing off, where he looks okay. Like
But that's because he's like. Okay, if he's this way, he looks awful. If he's this way, he looks awful. If he's straight on, it's when he's slightly turned and cheated out and he's roaring. Or like his body is masking his anorexic design.
I think I do need to see a little bit more of the full design in the film to have like a fully thought opinion of it. Like there's some things about the design that I think are cool. I'm not like 100% like, oh my god, yes, this is awesome. But I'm like, oh, that's an interesting new thing for like this Godzilla design. Like how they've changed the face to resemble more like a bearded dragon, which you don't really see in these trailers too much. Like it's there, but they don't really show it off. But there's a shot that wasn't in this trailer, but's on like the Instagram story where like he's really got that bearded dragon look, and it's kind of on that poster as well a bit.
Yeah, and even in the CG renders that are like on the Playmates boxes, Godzilla's head is a lot more angular and spiky, and there's a lot more detail to the rest of his face.
Right, yeah.
It kind of reminds me, so if you look up the Godzilla 2014 DVD cover, Godzilla's head is like really detailed for some reason. Let me see if I can describe. So it's got San Francisco, it's like got buildings in front of him, and then Godzilla's kind of standing off in the pose that he was right before he was about to roar in Honolulu. But then the render has Godzilla's head like off to the side roaring, and the head is like weirdly detailed. And that is something that I've noticed on all of the CG renders for Godzilla 2024. he's like overtly detailed for no reason. Now, it's not a complaint, but like he is overtly detailed.
I mean, the head is a focal point, so it makes sense for the head to get a lot of detail. I mean, -1's head is like where like a lot of the polygon count for that design CG model goes.
Then again, it also makes sense because the head is also the most emotive place on the body.
Yeah, well, that's why it's a focal point.
Yeah. Jumping back into the trailer, as Godzilla finally breaks through the bridges, we see him go underwater. Now, one thing I will give this movie credit for, I do like the color palette. I think
it looks nice.
The film has a lot of colors to it, which is something I do appreciate.
It's not a flat-looking movie, which, yeah, I agree. I definitely appreciate that it's not flat-looking compared to, like, I don't know if you saw this, but have you seen, like, screenshots from that new Wizard of Oz, like, musical movie called Wicked?
I didn't know that was even a thing.
Oh, well, a trailer came out for it. It was shown at, like, the Super Bowl and stuff, and it looks so flat. The lighting is so flat.
Oh! I saw a post on Twitter that was literally about how flat the lighting was in that trailer and in the Deadpool 3 trailer.
Yeah, Deadpool 3 also looked a bit flat, didn't it?
Oh, so that's what that movie was. I'm going to be honest, I thought it was just like some random Marvel Disney Plus show.
No, it's an adaptation of like a musical like spin-off of The Wizard of Oz. It's like
interesting.
It's not like the original story. It's like a reinterpretation type thing.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. See, and I think that's one of the biggest
Jeff
issues.
Goldblum's in it.
What?
Jeff Goldblum's in it.
Please tell me he plays the wizard.
Yes, he does actually.
Oh yeah. So I think a lot of the issue with stuff like that simply comes from the continuing progression into digital lighting, something that happens in post-production. For anybody who is not familiar with post-production, in post-production, select Adobe Premiere Pro. What I use, there is an option to do digital lighting where you will put a keyframe in where you want the lighting to be at. And then it will, through AI, it will figure out where the lighting needs to go on the screen. All of that.
There's also like how movies shot in HDR, like they're shot kind of like the raw footage is desaturated so that you can digitally like play around and have more freedom with the color grade, which I mean it does have more like potential like overall from what I understand, but like when using it doesn't always look the greatest sometimes. Right,
and that is something that a lot of these films now use for like that 4K HDR kind of whole gimmick. And it does detract from it a little bit. You know, I wish, and I think a lot of it also just comes from the fact it's shot digitally. When a film is shot on legitimate film stock, it's a little easier to find the color in that. But when you do digital,
I don't use film stock, so
let's jump back in here to the trailer so we can continue to talk about it.
Okay.
About 18 seconds in, we get the shot of Kong coming back down. He's in the Hollow Earth.
From previous trailers.
And then we get a new shot of Kong interacting with Kaylee Hottle's character, Gia. May I just say this is one of the few shots in this trailer where we actually get scale and I legitimately think Kong looks like he's huge.
He does look big. Scale is pretty inconsistent within this trailer, I'd say.
I'd say there's almost no I would say there's 3 shots of scale in this trailer, period.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of those 3.
Yeah.
Now, is it Kaylee Hall? Yeah, it is, because Rebecca Hall got her hair dyed. And then we get a shot of her, sitting in what probably is her bedroom, having weird visions and seeing seismic activity.
Some weird visions. One is a bit of a spoiler.
I mean, we should at least address it because by now everybody sees it.
True. That is true. A certain thing appears.
Mothra.
Oh, okay. He's just gonna go right ahead and say it right here.
I mean, literally all over the internet, there's people talking about how if you look in her eyes, they said, well, this is a trailer discussion. It's a trailer discussion.
You could at least.
This is the trailer discussion.
You went straight for the jugular.
Well, this opens up some interesting. So there's been some theories that have been going around that Mothra is in some of these shots and has been digitally removed. Now,
shot. I can probably pull up the shot itself. I think
the money shot.
Yeah, because I presume that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then there's somebody who says that in the wide. There's also a shot. It's a wide shot of Godzilla and Shimo fighting, and then in the middle of the city, there's Suko and Kong fighting Scar King. Yeah. And there's a blurry blip in the middle of the frame, and people are like, "Oh, they digitally removed Mothra from this." Now, whether or not that's true, I don't know.
I'm not actually sure where that blurry blip you're talking about is, to be honest.
It's in the top middle of the wide shot.
I'm trying to
actually pull this up here. Wait, I don't think StreamYard.
It doesn't seem to let me do images, which is really unfortunate. Unless
Oh yeah, and it won't let me do any screen sharing. The joys of StreamYard not wanting to work.
That's a great idea. I can screen share my Twitter, maybe. There we go. Let's see if this works. Hey! There we go.
Yeah, so this shot here. Okay. I'm going to have to go full screen. Okay.
You're good.
Let me remember where they said. Okay. So, to the very left of Godzilla's tail, if you zoom in there.
What, those houses?
There's a blue blip and a blurry. Yep. And some people have been like, is that Mothra? Is that secretly Mothra?
That doesn't. I think they're onto nothing, personally.
I think they're onto nothing too, but people are really diving, and they're like, where's the digitally altered stuff? Mothra's got to be in this shot. So earlier today, I made a joke about this shot, actually. If you can zoom out here, Rex. I said, breaking news. No, I said, breaking news. Pipeworks has announced a new remaster of the Godzilla games. And for this remaster, they're also featuring brand new levels inspired by the Monsterverse. Because this looks exactly like a scene from Godzilla Unleashed or something.
Yeah, no. This literally the running gag I've seen a bunch of people say. It's the Giga Bash shot. I'm like, yeah, it literally is. Godzilla's got the purple. And I mean, in Giga Bash, there's actually the Hollow Earth is an actual thing. And the energy for it is purple.
And see, it's just that, like, everybody's like glowing some sort of color here.
Yeah.
Like, there's blue all over there.
Godzilla's in like a whole nother like supercharged evolved form that we haven't even seen in any other like shot or trailer or anything.
So Rex, can you let's try and do this. Can you bring up the trailer?
Oh, on Twitter? Oh yeah. Why didn't we do that from the start? Goddamn. We stupid.
We're about 25 seconds in, so we'll just kind of let this play out here. We'll see how long it takes for Warner Brothers to be like, "How dare you?"
Let's just turn the audio down a little.
I can't hear it. So okay.
Oh,
So let's go back here. There's
your spoiler. Sorry, guys.
There's your spoiler. Mothra.
Very clearly, it's King of the Monsters design, pretty much, seemingly.
Hopefully, Wingard doesn't mess her up too much.
Hopefully, they recycle the Bear McCreary theme.
Hopefully, they just fired Tom Hulkenberg. But I digress.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey, I'm not afraid to say it. So, following this, we do get a blink and you'll miss it clip of something we get following this.
Yep.
So that is Nuclear Pulse Godzilla?
Yeah. Godzilla gets a new blue supercharged form in this.
And then we get a bunch of fast clips. Oh my god, there's so much here.
Yeah, teasing a bunch of things. You get Scar King, Shimo, the pyramids.
Godzilla destroying.
Rampage.
Or is that Godzilla?
That's Shimo. That's Shimo's ice breath.
Okay. Frost breath, I think it's called.
Whatever. I don't care.
Scar King, and then Kaylee Hoddle saying something's wrong with her. So this makes me lead to ask the question.
Hmm?
You might want to pause it. Is Kaylee Hoddle going to be retroactively retconned to be connected to Mothra?
See, I don't think I should say whether or not what I think, because like my thoughts is slightly influenced by what I've read in leaks. So, like,
this is true. I guess full disclosure.
I have not read every leak, but I do know a decent bit.
And I have not read as much as Rex has, but I have read a decent bit. But I'm choosing to not.
I'm trying not to bring that up, but it is a little hard not to, you know.
See, and
this
like
trailer kind of just confirmed like several different things from the leaks.
And I will say this: I'm not pulling a certain somebody else, who makes false opinions and creates videos for revenue for the sake of just making revenue. Like, I'm like, that's a legitimate question I do have. Like, are they going to retroactively retcon our previous MonsterVerse characters out and replace them with Kaylee Hoddle? So, I mean, that's just something I think would be interesting.
The thing is, it's like every movie and show retcon something.
In the MonsterVerse, yeah.
Yeah, literally, like every single one changes something from the previous movie.
Which I will probably. Here's a shameless plug here.
Wow.
I will be talking about part of that this weekend on Monsters with Attitude on Saturday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time over Monarch Legacy of Monsters. So write that in your calendars now. I think we're about to start promotion on that episode. So
you'll have some things to say once you and I once I show you those last 3 episodes. You'll have some things.
We might do that tonight. I mean, I got to be to work in 9 hours, but we might do that.
Yeah, we'll see. Depends how long this goes, I guess.
Yeah. So there's a lot of hinting going on in this trailer, and the trailer shows a lot, but also does not.
Which I'm fine with. I'm fine with that.
But I do think this gives us the basic outline of our human characters and exactly what their reason for being here is.
Exposition.
Something tells me that our human characters, are going to have little to no...
Be the most developed, characters of the franchise,
Yeah. Not to make the comparison, but I'm gonna make the comparison.
I know what comparison you're gonna make.
Okay, so I know in our wait, no, that episode hasn't come out yet. But in the upcoming episode of Kaiju Conversation, I do say that I'm kind of done talking about -1, but I'm gonna talk about -1. I'm gonna do it. -1 and GXK are going to be the antithesis of each other on how they execute human characters. And in my honest opinion, one will be right and one will be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why, but I've kind of slipped into Donald Trump.
Oh dear God, not again.
We are about to witness the greatest catastrophe in the history of the Monsterverse. It's going to be a catastrophe of epic proportions.
We might be witnessing the greatest catastrophe in Kaiju Conversation at this point.
This is what happens when you and I go live.
Our unhinged personalities come out.
Oh no, this isn't unhinged. This is still pretty reserved.
I know.
I haven't jumped out of my chair yet.
I'm sober.
Have you ever not been when we record?
No, I've been sober every recording, I think.
I was gonna say, I don't think your name's Michael Hamilton. He's still in the chat. He'll hear that. There was a double whammy there of Michael jabs, but I digress. So, Rex, why don't we rewind the trailer back to 37 seconds and go from there? We get our Warner Brothers logo, which we hate Warner Brothers at this point.
Yeah.
Then we get some, shots we've seen before and some glitches and whatnot. And
Rebecca Hall and Kaylee Hoddle.
Now, any idea what the shadow is here on Kong? So we have Kong looking up. It's an over-the-shoulder shot.
That's probably the Beast Glove. Because that looks like an arm of some sort. So,
but why would it be flying on top of Kong?
Maybe they're airlifting it or something. Because there's a shot later of Daniel Stevens, he's on the Beast Glove. He's hanging on to it, and it looks like it could be in the air.
Oh, that's right. I remember that shot.
But yeah, so that's what I think it is. It's probably the Beast Glove because it's spinning around too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably not a creature, but it's definitely an arm.
And then we get Godzilla stomping, which he looks very plasticky here. And this is his new design, is it not?
Yep, this is the supercharged design.
Which I'm not a fan.
It's probably him leaving Rome or something.
So I imagine the way it'll work is because he looks slimmer in this shot. His anorexic body's kind of in the torso.
So. I don't. Maybe I don't know.
I'm thinking these are two different shots. Because there he looks the proper thickness. But in that shot, he looks really slim.
Oh, I feel like that just looks like the Daikaiju design more or less.
It does look like his design, but I'm not.
It is the Daikaiju design, just with a weird blue supercharged pattern that I'm not really a fan of, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it either. It looks... I don't like it when Godzilla's just oozing out blue. Like, that doesn't work.
I feel like it looks cool in GVK and King of the Monsters, because it does look cool. Because I feel like it's coming out of areas where it makes sense to come out of, like the gills. Doesn't really make sense to come out of the ice, but it looks cool, whatever. And obviously the dorsal fins. It's not just like the whole body or like these weird like patterns on the body. Whereas here, I don't know, I'm not a fan of it. I think it's kind of overdone.
So something I'm wondering is, what if the way it works is Godzilla starts off as his basic version, and then after a fight or something, he becomes blue supercharged. That's where he has his nuclear pulse and all of that. Yeah. And then eventually the power builds up so much that he has to like go into hibernation. And then that's where it builds up and up and more and more and more. And then it turns him into pink Godzilla.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, I'm just going to point this out right now. There has been no complaints about pink Godzilla on this stream.
Yeah, I'm fine with the pink. I don't care.
It doesn't matter.
The
pink
really
doesn't matter.
Like, it's not my preferred color, but I don't care. There's worse colors they could have chosen. They could have made his breath like green or something, and I would have been like, ew. But do you want me to continue this?
Yeah, let's go ahead and move forward here. Alrighty. So we get Godzilla going into the water, and then we get more clips of Rebecca Hall and our new character.
Dan Stevens, or Trapper, played by Dan Stevens, I should say. He's got good hair. I'll give him that.
See, I'm more of a fan of the accent myself.
That too. I'm digging the accent, and he seems to have more of a personality than most MonsterVerse lead characters. So, as much as I want to just poop in this movie's cereal, I won't deny Dan Stevens. I wouldn't say I'm excited for him, but he seems pretty chill in this movie. So thumbs up.
Now, here we get him kind of joining in, because the dialogue here is something along the lines of, I was waiting for you to
want
ask.
To come along? And he's like, thought you'd never ask.
Yeah. And then we get
see like shots the new heave.
Mm-hmm. And Brian Tyrese Henry's character back in the saddle again. And Kong and them jumping down back into the wonderful world of Willy Wonka.
Yeah. We're in Wonderland.
More shots of Zuko and Kong and them just exploring the Hollow Earth here. Now, pause here real quick. So we just saw Dan Stevens touch and wiggle some sort of weird thing. Yeah. Apparently some people have said, what if that's Mothra's egg? I'm wondering...
I feel it'd be her cocoon more than
cocoon. Yes, I agree. I'm wondering if it's a cocoon.
Because the egg would be solid, presumably. And then we get clearly in the temple or whatever of the Iwi ancient people, whoever these guys are.
I will say, I'm wondering if it's the Iwi. I'm wondering if the Iwi are just not only on Skull Island, but in the Hollow Earth as well.
Yeah. Our replacement Mothra people.
That's a good way to put it. Then we get a shot of the red hand that will probably...
I just gotta say, I don't think you can hear it on the stream, but the sound design in this trailer is really funny.
Because of the screaming?
The screaming noise. It's like something you'd hear out of the 2010... No, the mid-2000s, 2011-ish, YouTube era of MLG clips. Of just people screaming into their microphone. It's hilarious, and they play it right when Godzilla roars and does this atomic pulse a bit later.
So there was a shot, I want to say it's right before this, Oh no, it's not. Let's see. Oh, that shot of Rebecca Hall. I do like the lighting there again. There is some nice lighting there.
Yeah, some nice
the red and
contrast
green.
with the red and green. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
opposite ends of the color spectrum. So
Then we get this shot, which I cannot stand all of this. All of this is awful. Here comes out my hate boner. This is all like there's no scale. It just looks everything's tiny. Like
right.
I don't.
The only thing really
this.
bringing scale is Kong himself. Like he is the point of the scale. Everyone, all the other monkeys, they kind of stand out next to Kong because they're very clearly less detailed than him as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And doesn't help that Kong kind of towers over them a bit too. So it just makes it all feel smaller.
Right. And honestly, like it just gives me too much of the Planet of the Apes vibes, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
So then we get the shot of Scar King, and then we get this. So pause here real quick. So now they're retconning that the seismic, readings going on the surface are just a bunch of monkeys banging the earth really hard.
What? What?
No, that's what they say here. That it's not just the readings we got. They weren't just a battle. They weren't just a cry for help. They were a war cry. And when they say that, they're banging against the rocks.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
so the seismic,
maybe like the seismic readings at the beginning of the trailer, maybe. Yeah, I guess.
So the seismic readings, by what it's saying, are
oh my god, the monkeys are the tectonic plates.
Like, how crazy are we going to get here?
I don't know. It's dumb. I think the whole thing of the monkeys, the giant monkeys raging war on the surface world is absolutely insane. This movie's kind of GVK jumped the King of the Monsters and GVK jumped the shark a bit, but somehow the shark just keeps jumping higher. You know?
Yeah.
It's like it doubles every time. It's like the shark jumped 2 meters off the ground. Now it's GVK it jumped 4 meters. Now it's jumping 20 meters.
And it's getting crazier. It's just, I cannot stand the idea that all of these monkeys are shaking the world.
Okay, when you say it like that, it is kind of funny.
Like, that's what it is.
Yeah. No, it's funny. It is funny. I see.
But rewind. Let's keep going.
To about, what, here-ish?
Yeah, it's a little after this. I guess we'll watch the monkeys shake up the world again.
Yeah.
And then we get more of Scar King, which, okay, in this shot right here, where he's, like, walking up and all the gorillas, like, are hunching down, he does look kind of freaky.
He's kind of cool. I won't lie.
But honestly, once he jumps out, it's like, oh, it's just a lanky King Louis.
This is the cool shot of him.
And, like, I just can't get past the idea that it's just King Louis.
Yeah,
and then we get some.
Help that the snippets of the fight we see here, like I'm assuming this is not how it's edited in the final film, but the way it's edited in the trailer, my god, I hate it. It's
Why?
So quick cutty. It's just so quick cutty. Like obviously it's trailer editing. I can barely tell what's happening. I have to watch it back and slow it down so I actually know what's happening.
Well, Kong definitely gets his hand like scratched.
Cut. Yeah.
Cut. Which I am not liking the idea here that these characters are now wielding like actual weapons. It's like, okay. This is getting a little out of like, and it's not even like it's a legitimate like they're it's not like when Kong and King Kong in 62 grabbed a tree, he like tried to just shove it down his throat, or like
the boulders, throwing boulders.
Yeah, like that was using the land and just like being a little primitive and like attacking your enemy in a proper way. This is like, oh no, I have a legitimate axe that like does axe things, and I have a legitimate whiplash that does legitimate whiplash things, and it's got a knife at the end, and it's like, okay,
yeah,
yippee-ki-yay. I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, we already jumped the shark in GVK though. I'm afraid that's.
Now, so we get a shot of Kong getting cut by the whiplash, and then it cuts to some lava flowing, and as the camera like fades in, we get a nice Kong reaction, and then we get our first look at Shimu.
Yeah, well, our first look minus the brief Gia's vision for like a frame,
in the wide shot. That's right.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand why they're trying to hide Shimu, but they also very clearly show Shimu off.
See, I mean, you got to remember, like, when it comes to, like, the toys and, like, merchandise release, they don't always have control over that. Sometimes the toys just have to hit shelves when they hit shelves. It's like everyone in the Godzilla fandom already knows what Shimu looks like. But, average audience member has no clue. So, And yeah, I don't mind it either way, because, like, I just prefer trailers not showing too much. So I'm happy they keep Shimu hidden, mostly. Because Shimu is, like, probably the one new design I actually kind of think is alright. And kind of like it a little. So I'm like, yeah, don't show him off. Let me just see him in the movie when it comes out.
That's fair. I don't know. I think it's a little weird to just not have.
I would rather the movie. I would rather the movie not show. I would rather trailers not show me Shimu at all than show him in any capacity. So like, I'm just glad they're not like showing him off front and center, because I was hoping they wouldn't. I want them to not release many trailers for this movie so that I don't see all the cool scenes in the trailers,
Yeah, I mean, but the one thing with that though is Warner is kind of known to do that. Like they spoiled Burning Godzilla and Mecha Godzilla.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly why I don't want them to. I mean, they didn't. There's like one trailer where they did. That was near the end of marketing. Yeah, no, like, yeah, that's exactly why I don't want to see Shimmer in the trailer. I don't want them showing off a bunch of stuff. I was like, I would have been happy if they didn't show Supercharged Godzilla off.
Right? No, and like just the fact that we are seeing like Godzilla go through so many different changes. And to actually go back here a little bit and touch on earlier this week, there was a statement from Adam Wingard saying you're going to see many versions of Godzilla.
Right.
I feel like a lot of people are going to be
trailer.
You're right. And I think a lot of people are going to misconstrue that to think we're going to get a lot of different variations of the character. And in all reality, it's just going to be, we're going to have Doherty, like 2019.
Yeah, we're going to see 2019 Supercharged. We're going to see him with his regular atomic breath, probably, I'd imagine. Like how it was in like King of the Monsters in 2021 and all that. And then we'll get Supercharged. Then we'll get Evolved Godzilla in like Egypt and stuff, and like that ice area. And then like we'll see that Supercharged Evolved that was in the wide shot. And that's about it. So that's like 5 different like appearances.
So that's what I think he's talking about. I don't think we're going to actually see Godzilla like mutate or do anything crazy outside of what we've seen.
No. I think we've seen all of his different appearances, to be honest.
Yeah. I think this trailer basically shows you everything.
Yeah. I would have preferred they, at least one for me to discover in the cinema, but who knows? Maybe they have. I'd like to think they have.
But jumping back in here into the trailer, we're about 75% done. Well, more like 60. So Kong then like grabs his axe to like deflect something, and we see his hand get completely frozen, which is
obviously
probably
this is Shimmer's frost breath.
Which this is probably what's going to lead into Kong getting the beast glove because his hand is going to be frozen, and maybe they're going to try and say it's dead.
Yeah.
Then we get some back and forth between Tyrese Henry and Rebecca Hall about
Kong can't handle this on his own.
Right, and then they're like, well, the last time Godzilla and Kong met, Kong almost died, and we get the stupid running shot. And then we get more shots of Rio and Shimu. And then we get more reaction shots from the human characters, and then more shots of Godzilla and Kong and Giza. Little bit of their fight. And
yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier, with the beast glove seemingly being in the air.
Now, I do have a theory about what happens at Giza that I'll say at the very end, once we get to the money shot. But very clearly, Godzilla and Kong are like fighting here, basically to the death. We get some shots of Scar King and a shot where Kong goes up and like power punches Scar King. And like this whole shot here is completely done in the style of the Hong Kong fight between Mechagodzilla and Godzilla. Like from the framing to the editing to the angle, it's all there.
Yeah.
And then we get a shot following.
It kind of reminds me of that shot where Mechagodzilla just grabs Godzilla. Like, it's after Kong and Godzilla have teamed up a bit. Mechagodzilla, once Kong's on the ground, Mechagodzilla just grabs Godzilla and just pummels him into the building.
Yeah. And then after this, we get a gag shot of Scar King's tooth falling out, and then we get a shot of the military, which this is a really cool shot.
This is cool.
At nighttime.
I'm pleasantly surprised to see Godzilla is actually causing some destruction in this movie.
But this is where we get to see the nuclear pulse again. As the jets fly in, we see Godzilla charging up, and he does his thing. We get more shots. We get more shots of the Iwi or something.
Yeah, Fala Chen's character.
Some possible Mothra stuff.
Suko throwing a rock at one of the apes.
Rebecca Hall talking about cybernetic enhancements. Hello. Beast Glove. We get a shot of Scar King using the whiplash and throwing a building at Kong. And Kong, like, just punching
through it.
Okay, so then we get our money shot. And this is Godzilla and Kong roaring as the Sphinx is sitting in the middle bottom frame. So up until this point in the trailer, it's shown that in Giza. In Giza,
I've been thinking Ginza the entire time, and I have to correct myself mentally.
Godzilla and Kong have been fighting, right?
Yeah.
So why are they suddenly roaring up into the sky together? And
well, clearly this is where their team up happens.
But how does their team up come to be?
Well, I have a guess.
I have a guess too, and it is related to a 1964 film. It's called Sen Daikaiju Chukyu Saidai no Kessen. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I have an idea.
So, theory, I got a theory. So, Mothra's seemingly in this movie, based off of what we've seen. Mm-hmm. Godzilla and Kong have been fighting each other to the death here, as we've been shown. In Ghidorah, Mothra tries to get Godzilla and Rodan join forces and fight the villain Ghidorah, maybe that's what happens here.
Boy, I wonder. I feel
You
like
know
that's
the
almost
answer. Huh?
I do
What?
know the real answer. I do know whether or not you're right or wrong.
Oh, goody.
I'm not saying it.
We'll find out March 29th, I suppose.
Hey, I get to see it 2 days before you.
I get to see it a day before, too.
Okay. Still a day before you for me.
So they roar, and then I believe that's really it. That's the end of the trailer.
Yeah, that's the end of the trailer.
We get Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire. Boom, 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 boom. And that's the trailer.
Yep, that's it.
So overall, I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I think I will like the film visually at points. I'm curious
when I
how
was
they're...
watching it, I was staring at it like this the entire time.
You were just staring at it, blank face? See, I remember sitting there thinking, oh, okay.
Yeah, I was not impressed particularly with anything.
See, yeah, no, like, there was nothing. It was like, okay, okay. All right. See, yeah, it didn't do it for me. It really didn't.
Like, there was some shots that I thought were like, oh, that's a bit funky looking. Like when Kong just punches Scrye King and Scrye King throwing that building. I'm like, whoa, okay.
See, I just don't think it works. I don't think this movie really, or this trailer really works. But I think a lot of that comes down to I'm just not excited for it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like it kind of just confirms things I already know about the movie. Like the only real thing in here that's like a surprise is seeing the supercharged form. Like that. Gotcha. That's surprising. I wasn't expecting to see that. And yeah, I also wasn't expecting them to show Mothra in the first 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting them to show her at all. I was like, Shimmer, they'll probably show in some capacity. But Mothra, I was like, no, I don't anticipate any Mothra.
Oh, you were wrong. And
evidently,
honestly, the one thing I'm kind of surprised at is just the fact that this is coming out in like a month and a half.
Yeah, it's like 40 days away or something now.
Which, it's weird because I feel like the hype around this film just in general is not there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There are a lot of people genuinely excited for it. I feel like definitely seen a lot of people who don't care for it or are like, I'll check this out when it goes on streaming. Like I've seen a fair bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I think the general consensus is that it looks fun. Like a lot of people think it looks fun, which I mean, fair enough. It'll probably be entertaining. Shallow. I anticipate a very shallow movie. But like, yeah, it'll probably be entertaining.
I fully expect my reaction to the film when it ends being, oh, okay.
I fully expect to like walk out of the theater feeling empty inside. Just like
you did for GVK?
Yeah, literally.
Well,
like, I didn't even dislike GVK on my first watch. I just left the theater feeling empty. And like I thought I liked it at first, but then the more I thought about the movie, I'm like, I really didn't like it at all. Like, man, that was a disappointment. What do you know?
It's awful. But, I would be happy to be wrong about my opinions on this movie. I genuinely hope it turns out to be a good movie.
My hope / what I think could end up happening is that because my expectations are like so low that like if it's even like slightly above the bottom of the barrel, that I might slightly like it more than if I had no expectations at all,
That's where I'm at too.
I think I might like it a little in that regard. Because my expectations are, they're below the camera, man. They go below the charts.
So, with that being said, I don't really have much more to say.
Bad movie.
I hope it's good. I don't have expectations of it being good. I hope I enjoy it. But I have my doubts.
Shimmer's cool enough. I hope Mothra's cool. I hope Godzilla's cool. Kong will probably be fine. Kong tends to be at worst fine in these movies, so I think he'll probably be fine. Yeah. I don't know what else there is to really say.
Well, I think there is one last thing both of us can say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I think it has to do with a little bit of shame. The most noblest of podcasting traditions, as I like to call it myself.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I'll get us started, and then we'll wrap it up. Here, I think. Hello, everybody. I'm Elijah, and I have a kaiju and tokusatsu problem. Joking aside, I am Elijah Thomas. I co-host the podcast Kaiju Conversation with my co-host and good friend, Mr. Rex over here. We cover the wide world of tokusatsu, from kaiju and giant monsters to henshin heroes and J-horror. You can find us on any podcast platform you use, and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Kaiju_Converse on all of those sites. I am also part of the rotating hosts for Monsters with Attitude. You can check us out on YouTube, where we do monthly live streams talking about kaiju entertainment. You can also head over to Facebook and join our Facebook group. It's a great place to talk with like-minded people. I'm also a writer. I've written for GodzillaMovies.com and in Kaiju Ramen Magazine, and currently I write for Kaiju United. My most recent article is an interview with Donnie Winter about his work in the fandom. For however many years he's been in the fandom, he's done a lot, and so it's a great interview. My writing has also been featured in the book Giant Bug Cinema, a Monster Kid's Guide from Bear Manor Media, where I wrote about Ghidra, the three-headed monster. I'm also a filmmaker and YouTuber. You can check out my stuff on my YouTube channel, ET13 Productions, where you can see some of my short films and old YouTube videos, along with a playlist that features all of my appearances on YouTube. I do plan on getting some new videos out soon. I've got a few short films I need to put out and a couple other things, so definitely check that out. I've also appeared in a kaiju movie, a little-known film called Zillafoot from 2021. I made a brief cameo in the film as Skywatcher number 2. It's got a rating of 3.7 out of 10 on IMDb, so if you want to watch more kaiju, you can buy the Blu-ray on srscinema.com or get the DVD from any major online retailer. Or just watch it for free on Tubi with ads or on Prime. You can also check out my action figure photography on my Instagram at ET13_productions and my X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, thanks Danny, at the same handle. Now, Rex, where can people find you at?
Well, dear listeners, you can find me on YouTube at Rexino, on Twitter at Rex_Xenomorph, and on Instagram, Rex_Xeno. And if you want to check out some of my writing, go take a look at the Tokusatsu Network.
And as for the podcast, don't forget to rate us on iTunes. That boosts our ratings and helps us get recommended to more people just like you. If you don't have an Apple device, which I don't blame you, I don't actually. That's why I'm literally staring at a MacBook right now to do this live stream. But you can rate us on Spotify now. That's something they do. If you want to stay up to date with all things Kaiju Conversation related, follow us on Twitter at KAIJU_CONVERS. If you don't have Twitter, you can follow us on Instagram or like us on Facebook. If you're like me before podcasting and you don't have any social media, lucky you. You can email us at kaijuconversation@gmail.com, all lowercase, all one word, you know the drill. And as always, we'll read your reviews on air for everyone to hear. We also have a Teespring store. Eventually, we're going to have original artwork on there, but until then, you can sport our awesome logo on a t-shirt or maybe even like a coffee mug. If you'd like to chat with us, check out our Discord server full of others that have similar interests to you. It's a great community full of great people. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you can be notified anytime we upload a video. We sometimes post exclusives to the channel, like bloopers for episodes or minisodes talking about news or other subjects. We also have an interview with Godzilla designer Jared Kirchveski on the channel, and I definitely butchered his name. I'm so sorry. But we also do these Kaiju Conversation Lives. We at least do one a month. I'm going to try and do 2 more this month, a actual main episode and another bonus surprise towards the end of the month. So stay tuned for that. A huge thanks to Rex for editing all of these episodes and all the other content we upload. His links can be found in the description below. Along with Rex, we'd like to give a huge thanks and shout out to Danny DeManna of the Godzilla Novelization Project for his amazing vocals on our theme song. You can support him by following him on Twitter at Danzilla93_GNP or visit his website, GodzillaNovelizationProject.com. And a huge thanks to Grattan Conwell from the podcast Giant Monster BS for composing the music for our theme song. You can support him by following the podcast on Twitter at Giant Monster BS or on any podcast platform under the name Giant Monster BS. And with that, we're going to wrap things up here. This has been a lot of fun. Hopefully, Rex, you can come on more. I would love that.
I'd be down. Honestly, this has been a lot of fun.
Thank you guys to everybody who tuned in live. Thank you for anybody who listens to this on the podcast feed or tunes into the VOD version. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. And as always, please remember, life's too short to not talk big. Bye, guys.
Bye.
We are set, we are in debt. There's nothing to sweat. Life's too short now, baby. And not too big now, baby. Conversation. His name's Elijah, baby. And also Rex now, baby. We love those kaiju, baby. And you will too now.